Hi, this is Michael Macchia with Russo Music. Yeah, what I want to go over here today are intermediate playing. Once you've gotten past the point of being able to play your basic chord shapes, C, A, D, E, basically your C, A, G, E, and D. Those chord shapes can be used with the way the guitar is tuned up and down the neck of the guitar. You're not going to play always your open strings added in, but you will compensate for those open strings. Like, here's a D chord with the open, or E, moving that down. It sounds like a nice chord, but this shape is, if we looked at it here, can be moved down, and the rest of the open strings compensated for. Think of this as like a capo. Those are all major chords that can be put in all 12 keys, moving up and down the neck. Same thing with an A. So those are the type of things you want to learn, in other words, or putting different notes in the bass for each one of the chords that you're working with. In other words, if this will start out with, the G chord here, you can also go just making 3-note chords or triads. Those are all G chords. You can go either down the neck of the guitar, or if you call it up, and then down this way, or you can also go across the neck of the guitar. In other words, this is G, as we just played, going, or you can go, and they're all G's also, with emphasis on different notes as your bass note, or building up from. So those are the things that you really want to try to get down as you're playing, because as you realize, there are many songs that have just a few chords to them. But when you're listening to something where it's like, instead of, it might actually be they might use different inversions of chords, not just your straightforward, just your open chord forms or traditional chord shapes, open chords, which are this. Here's C again, A, G, E, and D. Just to name some. But again, you want to be able to do that because also many songs, even though it will say C, E, or C to an A minor, to a G, to a D, whatever, those aren't necessarily just the chords going A minor, G. Or F, and then also learning the extensions of chords, like the dominant chords, the major sevens, and then as you get into, again, more advanced work, with 9s, 11s, 13s, and so on. But really the sound, especially too, of the major sevens, your minor 7 chords, your dominant chords, even augmented, if I'm going to play, if I want to augment augment that chord, I want to go. And that's by raising one of the, one of the three notes, the fifth of each chord, or if you were to do it as a C major chord, the notes are C, E, and G. Well, I need to make that last note there in root inversion. I need to bring that up a half step. Instead of hearing, I want to hear it as, and it's a nice transition there. Chord. And then to maybe a minor chord. Again, this is more individual, voicings of chords and transitions from chord to chord, rather than just using very straight block-like, and that's what we did when we began, and again, that's where that individual learning process is so important for each student. Some people want to do that. Some people want to learn all their inversions of chords and their scales. Some people want to just say, hey, I just need an overview. But, learning your rhythmic skills is also another area that needs to be touched as far as dealing with intermediate learning. Again, how many songs you use the chords C, G, D? One song might be just quarter notes. Well, what if it's different ideas, again, timing is real important. So even if you're one of those people that do not want to learn to read notation necessarily, okay, that's great, as far, but at least learn your timing. How long a half note's held for, how long a whole note, again, quarter eighths, dotted notes, syncopated rhythms. And again, without getting too over, maybe moving into more of an advanced study area, you want to basically just be able to get the basic feel of, what certain rhythms are doing. Once you get past the fact of learning just where a chord is, you want to be able to go like, it's real important. I can't emphasize it enough. Even if you don't want to read, to work with intermediate skills. As far as when you get to that point of working with the intermediate skills, to be able to deal with your rhythmic values of notes and syncopation. So the other thing would be scales. And again, you can play one scale in one position. Here's a C major scale here. I could also, if I want to start with the root note, go. Now that was starting with the note that the scale is named from. You don't necessarily have to do that all the time. You need to think again, what sharps and flats, the keys that have sharps and flats in them. And then you can play in one area of the neck of the guitar, but you also don't want to be stuck with what I guess I'm kind of taking from someone that I've heard before talk about position paralysis, where everything has to be played in one area, or when you solo, to actually move through the entire neck of the guitar. And the easiest way to do that is to do it, again, I like to do it if you haven't done it as a beginner, try to go through and just, even if we were to take A, I was just playing an A here, try to start with, A here and going. Instead of here, I might want to go. Just getting the idea of using the entire neck of the guitar for a scale, like. If I wanted to stop there. Here, just so you have an idea of moving through the neck of the guitar, because even as an intermediate player, if you want to learn about, improvisation, which is, something we move from that kind of intermediate advanced level to, as far as really creating your own voice, which, not where you're just following the patterns of somebody else playing. You really want to know where you can go up and down the neck of the guitar. If everything just becomes a... Now that sounds fine, but again, if you want to be able to have something sound a little more creative than just, okay, A minor pentatonic, one position, you can actually move through. And again, the grammatics, of playing guitar, where you're getting into, your bends, your trills, things like that are more of what we, study when we get into more of an intermediate level of playing. But again, the basics would be just, again, to work with timing. Timing is really important. To deal with different chord inversions. Even if you're not looking to be, the individual, even if you're the person who wants to be just a good rhythmic guitar player. Being able to say this is a C, or... Again, just... and being able to take those chords and move them up and down the neck of the guitar, or just even your... those are important things to do, and that takes you out of that just general chord playing to, again, more, layers being peeled back from the onion, so to speak. Okay, so that's about it. That's where I would, again, to emphasize what needs to be done into working into an intermediate. It's the player is to, and learning about timing, learning about different inversions of chords, learning how to move through the neck of the guitar, even if you want to play just chords. Learning how to accompany, just playing as we did with the beginners, beginning level, smaller chord forms. But again, this is all can be worked with in terms of the individual when you're dealing with individual lessons, and even lessons here in this format, in which we're dealing with them virtually. Okay? And for any people who want to learn on a, the virtual basis, I know I always, as well as many of the other teachers, at Russo, we all turn around and offer videos, to go along with the lessons that we do virtually every week. I know I do, and I know I've heard from others that they also do that too. So hope to see you. Hope to work with you. Um, and again, I'm real confident, in this, um, forum to be able to work with all of my students. Now that we've had that, time, sadly, with our outbreak, of COVID-19, the pandemic stuff, and this is the way to go, along with personal, lessons. But for now, as long as things are accomplished by being able to have this forum, along with a personal video, along with paperwork, there are different ways to do this, and this is a great forum for it. So thanks again. Hope to see you soon. And that's about it. All right, take care.